so we're still kicking off as expected.
Absolutely, just in time.
And first of all, sprint 2 dot something, they're a bit longer. So we have considered the first 3 sprints, so the first 3 sub-sprints in sprint number 1, they were quite short because also the usages and or the concepts were not that complex or that vast. However, now we're starting to deal with a bit more complicated content. That's why we decided that these sprints are 4 weeks long. I believe this comes to 4 weeks. And the submission is, let's say, expected, wished for after 2.5 weeks, so that we still have 10 days in order to help you, just navigate through any errors that you may encounter or through any questions that you might have. We have 6 usages this sprint. However, 1 is still in the making. So let's say today we kick off with 5 and 1 is gonna follow up. We're gonna tell you if the decision is that it's still gonna be part of this sprint or if we're gonna just move it to the next sprint. It depends, and of course I believe even no, it's not here. It's already in review by our team and discussions are already happening. So it's fresh out of the oven as well. So this linear composition is here as a, let's say, coming, and if we're going to decide that it's a part of 2.2, we're just going to remove it here. If it's going to be part of 2.1, we're going to tell you at the Thursday meetings. Right. This has been our idea at the beginning. I believe, sorry, have you just merged this or just approved?
I have not approved. I have some suggestions.
You have some suggestions. Okay, then let's go through it, but we're going to merge it, let's say, very quick, ASAP, after this meeting. However, what we want to focus on is, for example, spatial composition and spatial decomposition. I'm going to open all these links. And as you can see, this one has also quite a lot more documentation as previous had. And also there is a bit more happening here. And what we expect here is that you already introduce some spatial structure elements into your files. So we would expect that if you have an IFC site, then this IFC site should be aggregated in IFC project, if you have it. All IfcTunnel that you have should be aggregated either in an IfcTunnel, because they can be, of course, aggregated from not in circular manner, but they can be aggregated. So you could have sub-tunnels, or it can be aggregated in IFC site, or it can be aggregated in IFC project. And all IfcTunnel parts shall be aggregated in an IfcTunnel or again in an other IfcTunnel part. So this is spatial composition. That is, who is my parent in aggregation, so to say, or parent in the tree. Spatial decomposition is looking at the same thing, but the other way around. So looking from the parent to the part. Again, here you can aggregate spatial elements in the spatial decomposition. Sorry, let me go back here. And what we say here, that of course each IfcTunnel can only be decomposed by other IfcTunnels or IfcTunnel parts. And also what we're going to be looking in the file for is that you will include one IfcTunnel, please. So there should be at least one IfcTunnel in the file with a non-empty name. Again, what kind of name it has, it doesn't matter for the check. However, in order for, of course, you to use these 2 usages, we need an IfcTunnel in the file. I think Lars wanted to say something.
No, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'll mute.
All good. I thought you want to add to my explanations here. So these were spatial composition and spatial decomposition. I'm knowingly ignoring the red lines because those were just deleted. So this will not be a part of the final README. Then as said, linear composition, we're going to skip it. It's in progress. However, what we already know is there should also be one IFC alignment in the file with a non-empty name. This is definitely going to be a part, and then we're going to see how the linear composition, there are going to be more rules to it. And as just mentioned IFC alignment, we come to another concept that is alignment layout. If I open this one, sorry, I need to select it. So alignment layout. Oh, that's a diagram. I love it. So alignment layout basically tells you that an alignment is nested from its, so to say, parts. So a horizontal, a vertical, and a cant layout, and all of these are nested appropriately through alignment segments that have a horizontal segment, vertical segment, or a cant segment. And what we will be looking for in the file is that there is at least one line, at least one circular arc, and at least one clothoid segment nested in the horizontal layout of the alignment, and that there's at least one constant gradient, and then either a circular arc or a parabolic arc segment nested in the vertical layout. You may include cant layout. That's of course allowed. However, we will not be checking anything. So if you only do horizontal and vertical layouts, that is fine as well. And as said, we will be looking that there is one alignment, and then of course that its layout makes sense. Then come object nesting. Again, new.
Just one question here in between, because we had the discussion in Rail yesterday about the cardinalities. Would it make sense that we sort of, because that's the let's say the most concrete proposal about cardinalities, would it make sense that we test according to that proposal? It is sort of in a parallel setting, but you know, it is sort of very concrete. So one horizontal, at least, or exactly one horizontal 0 or one vertical certain 0 or one cons. Would that make sense?
I believe we can add that. Yes.
I would also maybe like to hear from Michel. Because it is a rule.
Can you please rephrase the question? Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Well, me and Stefan were participating in a technical services meeting in IFC Rail yesterday, and there's this concrete proposal from IFC Rail that in alignment layout, the cardinalities, so the amount of elements in this layout would be that an alignment is decomposed or is nested by at least or exactly one horizontal, 0 or 1 verticals, and 0 or 1 cant. We can test it, or we can check it in that manner. Instead of, you know, we have a bit more loose rules here. We just say we want one vertical and one horizontal pretty much, and that's it. We can say 0 or 1 horizontal, 0 or 1 cant, and exactly 1 horizontal.
Would this contradict the discussion we had the other day with Nigel around having several vertical for one line, for one horizontal?
I don't remember having a discussion with Nigel about this, honestly.
No, you were not in the call when he brought this up. But therefore the proposition that we made, but he did bring this up.
I don't know what exactly the requirements are of more than one vertical are, because honestly, I didn't understand the
use case.
The whole, yeah. I mean, it's supposed to come from the US, but we had a representative in IFC Bridge of the US, and this section solid horizontal was developed to cover these cases pretty much. So I don't know if since it's coming from the US, if that's the case, or if something other than that is the case, because if that's the case, then it's supposed to be covered by section solid horizontal. That's why I was asking if we could get a clarification, but we haven't gotten one yet.
I will stop you now, guys. Let's discuss this on Monday. Let's make use of the time and participants that do not even know the whole consequence. But I liked your proposal. We could edit. Yeah.
Just a
However,
suggestion
also
to have a more
yeah.
concrete feel to the check, not just very superficial.
Yes, I mean, given how it's currently written, of course, one could add multiple alignment horizontals. One would have lines in it, one would have circular arcs in it, and one would have cutoids in it, and it would still pass the test, right? So yeah, a bit more explicit on that front as well. However, I would assume that participants will produce one alignment. Yeah. Any other questions so far regarding the, let's say, top 4 concepts?
This alignment should be placed under tunnel IFC tunnel part or something, or
That's the linear composition that is coming. So
okay,
okay,
that was the missing part that you will work out
exactly
during a couple of days. Yeah, okay,
yes.
Understand.
Where to put it, and we will be very explicit where to put it.
For now, we kind of agreed yesterday that we can put it into site.
Yeah.
Also,
for example. Yeah.
For example, just to, because we're not testing the decomposition or the breakdown, we're just testing that alignment layout is okay.
Right. Very clear.
So I have this one, right? Object nesting. So object nesting, that an object definition can nest other objects. It's an ordered arrangement relationship. So aggregation is a non-ordered and nesting is an ordered. And what we wish to see in the files, that there is at least one IFC referent with a non-empty name in the file, and that all of these references are nested in any IFC alignment. So if there's going to be one, then of course it's that one. But if you're going to produce files with multiple alignments, then that all IFC references are nested just in any of those alignments. Also, not necessarily all in the same one, but this is what we're going to be checking for.
This is one of the comments that I left you. Not in the file, but nested on alignment, because in testing in the file is very arbitrary again.
Let's finalize this after the call. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna make the wording more clear.
The same comment for IFC group, by the way.
Probably, right? Yeah, because it's the same sentence. So group assignment, the last of the concepts here in this sprint, which is that you can assign products to arbitrary groups. Now, since we don't have almost any products in the file yet, what we will be checking for is that you have at least one group in the data set with at least one element group, whatever element you want. So there are any product you wish. You can also take alignment if you want, because alignment is a product. You can also take reference if you wish. So grouping is basically a group of objects that is not within this spatial composition, decomposition, and or linear composition, linear decomposition part, but just a grouping, an arbitrary grouping of elements. So please do not forget that the groups need to be declared by the project. This is from sprint 1.1, I believe. So we will be checking that. Perhaps we should write it down here as well so that nobody forgets. But yeah, please put any IFC. Sorry?
That's the comment if you open the review.
I'll look at the review right away. And IFC group, as far as I know, I believe it's an abstract thing, or is it non-abstract?
No, groups can be instantiated.
Can be instantiated. So you can use group, or you can also use any of its subtypes as well, of course. So it's not necessary that it is an IFC group. It has to be of type IFC group. So if you want to say, well, I have an inventory, or I have a structural load group, or some sort of a system that, again, has its own inherited classes, you're welcome to use those as well, whatever best fits also into your software. Right. Let's look at the conversation from. Oh, there are a lot of comments. No, there are two. So There shall be at least one referent on alignment with a non-empty name. I agree wholeheartedly. And the group declared in IFC project with at least one element grouped. Perfect. Thank you, Sergey. I will request an approval for Sergey again, because he just reviewed. And also open mic to everyone regarding what we've just discussed or what has been presented. Again, this is a 4 weeks time, so it's you have a bit more time, especially since there are a bit more different. Yeah. Sorry, words. It's been a long day. There are a lot of concepts from different parts of the documentation, and also we are already descending from the project to get to the product. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you both.
I mean, for the last 10 minutes, I would also ask now Lars perhaps to jump
exactly
in.
what I was about to do. Yes, Lars, please, if you.
Sorry, Michel.
Yeah, you're talking about the example file, or yeah. So let me just find the correct window so I can share screen.
And also in between, the checker got updated. So if you're going to be updating any sprint 1.3 files, they're not going to be failing 2.1 sprints. But if you want to update, if you want to submit a 2.1 file right away after our meeting, the checker should already check what I've just described.
Okay, so I tried to create an example file for this sprint as well, and it actually contains, I believe, everything from the previous sprints and including sprint 2.1. So I have an IFC site, which was one alternative, and with an IFC tunnel, a road tunnel, aggregated into the site. And then I have also 2 tunnel parts aggregated, here it is, into the IFC tunnel. And then I also have an IFC alignment, which is then contained in the IFC site for now, and I believe that's not going to fail in the current checks anyway. And just to tell you about that, so I didn't have to create an alignment myself. I actually used software from RDF, Peter Bonsma, who has this software for converting land XML files into IFC. So I actually got an IFC alignment with both the alignment layout with the IFC alignment horizontal, vertical, and cant layout as well, because this was actually a land XML alignment for a railway track. And since I used that, I actually sort of am overshooting this sprint a little bit, because this alignment actually contains geometry as well, and I believe that's actually next sprint. So you don't have to dig into that part yet, even though this example contains that. And with that, I also got IFC referent, which are nested into the alignment. And these referents, you can actually see how they are used here, because the reference are nested into alignment with linear placements, and that is also actually next sprint. But anyway, that's the way I got it. So I just took the alignment as it was. But you can see there that the reference are actually used to represent the stationing along the alignment. But that you don't have to worry about that in this sprint. And then we had this last, I think I added then an IFC built system. I cannot search here, no, obviously. So I have an IFC built system, which is a type of IFC group, of course. And in that, I actually just grouped the IFC arch. I created an IFC arch element, which has the IFC arch element type, which I created in the previous, the example from the previous sprint, and added that to this build system. So everything should be in there, and I have the file here and in branch, so I could just commit it then, perhaps.
Are you challenging the checker?
Yes.
Yes, we're doing live demos, which is always a bit dangerous, but as we only have professionals on the call that have done this in their lives as well, I believe it's safe to assume if we fail, they're gonna understand. No, everything should work.
So from my branch into tunnel deployment main 2.1, and I just did some text here, so it's not empty like that. So I actually describe what software I used also to create this. So let's see.
Now's a good time for some elevator music.
Yes, and I put this file, as before, I put it in the project team folder, of course. So once it has been merged, you can look at it there. And also, of course, you're allowed to have opinions.
Usually takes a few seconds per concept.
Yeah, the check does take quite some time because GitHub has to also set up the Docker in the background, clone the whole repository, everything. It's not only the checker that takes time here; it's also GitHub setting up everything in the background. And I've already had an experience once where the GitHub was waiting for a free server even to even start doing something.
And what does the button details provide?
I mean, on the right to each individual line here.
Yes.
Lars, you can gladly click it.
Yeah, of course. So I usually use it when when the whole job has executed and look at the summary. So now it's done. No, almost. Yeah. So I go to details for the last one and check summary. And we can see that it checks sprint 1.1, project units, project declaration, project representation context, 1.2 classification. I had that as well. Spatial structure and georeferencing. And for georeferencing, for this case, I used this A case in 1.2. And then we have 1.3 with document information. We have an editor. We have dataset information, library information, and we have this arch type declared, and we have a property set template for this GeoObs borrow construction. And then we have 2.1 and a group declared by project. We have an IFC site and we have a tunnel under it. Yeah, and for IfcTunnel, the spatial composition and decomposition and tunnel part, alignment horizontal, alignment vertical, IFC referent, and IFC build system. So yeah.
Quite a number of concepts here.
Quite a number, and from all the sprints so far.
And beyond.
Yes, and beyond. So I hope to.
I am very happy.
I hope to be able to use parts of this for the next sprint as well, because I think that will cover things like alignment geometry and also things like element nesting, which is like the nesting of reference, but with placements. So yeah,
Great. It's a great file to pick up from. Can you maybe show again for people that may not be that used to it, where this example file is actually located?
Yes. Once this is merged, it will end up under files, and then we have the project team folder.
Yes. So now that it has passed, who merged it? Is that you? Is that Stefan? Is that Sergey?
Maybe usually Stefan or Sergey, they have, even though it passes the checks, they might have some bells and whistles they would like to, or yeah. Okay. So it'll have to be reviewed first, and then it will be merged. But anyway, we saw that the checker has been updated. So yeah.
Has anyone a question on what we've just presented? It's already 7 p.m. here in Europe, but we can take a few other additional minutes for answering your questions. Up. Have we been that clear?
I would sure hope so.
Jan-Erik, no single picky question?
No, all the questions come when you start doing this, of course, but
of course.
So far clear, I would say.
Thanks. All right. Any final comments on our part? Sergey, Stefan, Lars?
Lars, I just have one question regarding the file, because I had a look before when we did a dry run, of course. But when you took the file, the IFC file, and you extracted alignment of it, have you checked that the length units were the same in both? Because I'm currently looking at an IFC circle that has a radius of 20,000, so it's 20 kilometers.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that is possible, of course. It's just
yes. Yeah, I think it might be big radiuses, but I will check the units. I actually think that since it came from a Swedish land XML file, I've kind of assumed that it was meter that was used, but I'll check.
If you start to be using feet in Europe, in Sweden, in Europe, Lars, then we get wounded.
Yes, we don't use feet or inch, as far as I know.
But it's only a few days since you started driving on the correct side of the road, isn't it, Lars?
Yeah, I think it was 67, so it was recent, right?
Recently.
Okay, then. If nothing else, then I think we can adjourn this this one kickoff call. Thanks everyone, of course, for joining. And I was about to say wishing you good luck, but it's not a matter of luck. And of course, we meet up next week again, Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon, CET time, to provide you with additional technical support if you faced any issues. But of course, in the meantime, do not hesitate to, as said, just look at the example files and build up your own, and then submit submit these through the GitHub platform. And we'll think and get back to you on this subject of those whose main concern is to read file as opposed to produce file, and find out a way by which you can report how you've been integrating files produced by others. So we'll just clarify this little mechanism so that everyone is aware, because everyone has access to the files that are produced by anyone, so that everyone's aware of how the files produced have been read, and hopefully successfully. Okay. So I think we can leave it here, and thank you, and speak to you then latest Thursday, next Thursday, the 23rd. Good evening, good day, everyone.
thank you all. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.